Our movie begins with a woman named Lori who is married to a man named Aiden, who is 30 years older than her. Lori has a young son with Aiden, and she enters the bathroom to prepare herself for a party. As she comes out, the nanny takes care of her son, and Lori goes to the party in a car. On the way, they talk about Aiden's son who is coming from Germany to spend some time with them. Michael will be at home when they return from the party. At the party, Lori feels bored as her husband is not paying attention to her. After he delivers a speech, praising Lori and engaging with other guests, one woman gives him strange looks, and Lori notices. He goes to his room to change his clothes because of spilled drinks, similar to an incident with Lori earlier. However, he enters the room with the woman he met at the party to spend time with. Lori waits for him outside for hours, feeling that her husband is betraying her. A friend of Aiden appears and asks Lori for a ride home due to her intoxicated state. Lori agrees, and when they arrive home, Aiden's son Michael is already there. Hearing a strange man's voice in the house, Lori confronts him, realizing he is a stranger, and she, in her drunken state, confronts and kicks him out of the house. The next day, Aiden introduces Lori to Michael, explaining that he is a successful and passionate person who understands music and production. Lori, however, is not interested in what he says. She takes her son to daycare, while Aiden takes Michael to the studio. The house, where she was present at the party, becomes a studio for her to try singing. Suddenly, Aiden realizes that her voice is terrible, and she cannot handle the writing. This disappoints Aiden, as work is crucial to him. Michael becomes upset with his father's attitude towards his singing and decides to leave the place. He goes to the restaurant with his father and his wife. There, they get to know each other, and Michael asks Lori if she is happy in her marriage. She refuses to answer and inquires about his knowledge of music and production. He tells her that he is a teacher and a writer. However, Aiden doesn't show up at the restaurant, prompting Lori to quickly leave as she begins to suspect her husband of infidelity. At home, Aiden holds a meeting with his son and a friend. He invites Lori to join them, and when they finish, Aiden asks if she is okay because her recent behavior has been unusual. The next day, Lori meets Michael in the garden, and he confides in her that his wife is pregnant. He doesn't know how to handle the situation due to their strained relationship. Lori advises him to support her until the baby is born and then deal with the situation. That night, Lori goes to the pool and then enters the living room in sleepwear. Michael sees her, and later, in the kitchen, she bakes a cake. Michael watches her, and when she is in the servant's room, the maid tells him that someone is asking about Michael on the phone. Lori takes the call and is asked to inform Michael, so she goes to his room to deliver the message but gets distracted by the books he wrote. While she is reading, he enters, questioning her about his belongings. She tells him about the call from his wife, but he remains indifferent. She asks him to write his name on paper, admiring his handwriting, and gives him a sports t-shirt as a gift. Aiden injures his leg and uses crutches while playing with his son, and Lori continues reading the books. The blame falls on Michael. He's the one who paid for it and scolded him in front of people. Lori and Michael feel embarrassed, and at home, Michael tells Lauren that what he did was wrong in front of others. Because he is a mature person, it's wrong to humiliate him in public. Lauren convinces him to come back home, telling him it's cold outside and he might get sick. She confesses that she admires him, appreciates his actions and personality. Lauren admits she knows she is his father's wife, and he doesn't have to reciprocate her feelings. However, he approaches her, kisses her, but she stops him. The next day, she reflects on what happened. When she returns, she sees Michael back home, and the maid tells her that his wife sent him a message. She takes the message, reads it, and prepares herself for the party. Her father apologizes for the previous incident, explaining he was angry and asks for forgiveness. Lauren overhears their conversation and interrupts them. She enters the hall, and they leave for the party by car, with Sydney, who works with him in the studio. Eden asks his son to take Sydney, and they go to have drinks. Michael tries to hold Lauren's hand, but she pulls away. Eden asks his son to take Sydney, and they go to have drinks. Michael tries to hold Lauren's hand, but she pulls away. Sydney approaches Michael, irritating Lauren, and when Michael sees someone getting close to her, he hits him. Worried, Lauren leaves the party and asks her husband to take her home. The next day, Michael takes her to the nursery because Eden went to work. Lauren decides to stay with Michael, and they book a room in a hotel. A relationship develops between them, and she returns home later. Eden asks her about the delay, and she says she was with Michael at the cinema. The next day, Michael waits for his father to leave for work and engages in a relationship with Lauren afterward. His wife, Lauren, decides to stay with him because Michael is staying at their house. Lauren sees them together and decides to distance herself from Michael. At the party, she sees them sitting together, so she changes and continues to drink. Dane gives a speech about his success in the studio and dances with Lauren. Michael sees them and becomes jealous, interrupting them with a speech in which he accuses Dane. He thanks God that his father was not an excellent father and a successful businessman, but rather a failed father who only cared about himself. When his father hears this, he is shocked, and people are astonished by Dane's behavior. Lauren is surprised by his words and tries to leave, but he goes after her, apologizing for everything and explaining that he did it for her. However, Lauren leaves the place, and Dane notices their closeness. The next day, she asks Michael to talk privately despite the presence of his wife and father. Dane is angered by this and goes to the balcony. Lauren asks Michael if he loves his wife, and he explains that everything between them is in the past, and he wants to start a new chapter with his wife. He takes his wife and leaves the house. Dane enters the room and realizes that his wife is cheating on him with his son. She justifies her actions, claiming that he cheated on her. Dane suggests they get ready for the night and go to a restaurant to eat, but she continues crying, stating that there is no solution for their relationship. She gets out of the car, crying, and he understands that their marriage has reached its end.